everyone, it's Bianca from the Stampin' Bee, and today I have for you a little bit of a different video than I usually do. I'm doing paper pumpkin alternatives. I'm really excited. Really wanted to try this out. I've never done this before. I've revealed paper pumpkins before, but never showed off alternatives, so this is a new thing. So this right here is the March 2020 paper pumpkin. If you've been to my YouTube channel before, you have noticed that I have another video. Me and my daughter, we opened up the box and revealed what's inside. So here you can see it's this stamp set, but then you also got an extra stamp set this year because Paper Pumpkin is celebrating its 7 years. And I'm also celebrating 7 years of being a demonstrator. So I have 3 alternative cards for you, and I wanted to show you using what we have with this new set. This is a very cute set. I loved all these stamps. And I wanted to start off with my first card being this little basket of flowers. It's so darn cute. I wanted to keep this particular card fairly simple, so I just colored them with my blends. Oh, one quick thing before I go any further. On my blog is all the product information, measurements, anything that I forgot to mention in this video will be on my blog. So my blog post will be linked below, and you can go to that and get all the information, as well as the product information will be pictured below, and you can click on those and buy them in my store if you want to make these cards as well. So I just made them very, very simple. Use my blends to kind of just color in these little flowers in these baskets. I didn't put a lot of effort into it, only because the image is fairly small. The leaves and the flowers are really, really tiny. So you can only get so much. That's why I kind of just dotted them through, but you get the idea. At the end of the video, I do have some photos, and you can see all those as well as on my blog. So you can get a closer look as to how the flowers and everything came out. Very, very cute. Again, I wanted to keep this card really, really simple, so I just colored in these little things of flowers. I fussy cut them out and then added them to already pre-cut squares that I had. So I used the stitch shaped squares, the framelits, and the scallop squares, the framelit dies for those, and put them together. I use the 3rd largest stitch square and the 6th largest scallop square. And how I determine that is this: when you have your dies, especially when you have dies that have multiples of the same shape, I go from biggest to smallest. So the largest to the smallest, and the largest is 1. So I count that as 1, and then I start making my way down, and then that's when I come up with my numbers. So that's how I determine which number of the die I use to get that particular size for my card. So like I said, all that again is on my my blog site. I did write down for each individual card which dies I used, which one I used, so that way you can get the same exact measurements when you go to recreate this. So this particular one, I kept them small because I did want them to fit across the card. That way they all fit together, but they look so cute. So I did pop them up on dimensionals, pop up the flowers, and I added them to my little squares. And then I just glued the squares flat down onto the card and kept it very, very simple. I didn't add a lot of embellishments. I didn't put like sequins or rhinestones or pearls around anything, which can definitely be added. I just kind of wanted to keep them simple. I wanted to show off the images in this new extra stamp set that we got. They were just so darn cute and just made for some really nice cards. So I lined them all up. I used glue, the Tombow glue, so that way you can kind of move them around and make them match up easier. The glue kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room, which is really good. I got my linen thread and I wrapped that around my card several times, I think like 3 times, and then tied a bow. And this was just to give it a little kind of depth. Like I kind of wanted to break up the line for the flowers. So I just did a bow, and then I grabbed my sentiment. So the sentiments I grabbed from your regular Stampin' Up! Paper Pumpkin kit. These are what would have normally come with the kit. The new stamp set that we had gotten, the extra one, didn't have a lot of sentiments. It only had one, but it had a lot of images, so I kind of used those two coincide together. So I did use them a lot. The one thing I did not use in the kit was all the little cutouts that we got from the kit, because I still want to use those to put my cards together. So I really focused on the stamps with these particular cards. I really wanted to make them shine, make them stand out. So we're already on card number 2. This one, I'll admit, is my absolute favorite card. I loved how this came out. I came up with the idea. I knew I wanted to use these boots. I knew I wanted to really make them pop, and I knew I wanted to do a rainbow. So I came up with this idea. Now, I originally had stamped them differently when I was putting it together, and then when it came to making this video, I thought, you know what, I can do the double colors. So the colors that I chose, again, this is all on my blog as well. The colors I chose for my rainbows are Calypso Coral, Grapefruit Grove, So Saffron, Pear Pizzazz, Balmy Blue, and Highland Heather. I did also use Basic Gray to stamp the outline of the boot. And I can, as you can see in the video, put them side by side, so I can use each one of those colors and not have to waste any of the boots, because I end up cutting them all out individually and lining them up on my card. So like I said, on my original card, I had done the solid, like both boots in the same color. So I have some extras. I can go back and make another card if I want. And I just had, you know, a lot of them left over, and when really you only need this particular order if you wanted to do it in rainbow order. So I figured it'll totally work, and I didn't get ink all over the place, so it worked out great. But this card is, again, one of my favorites. I'm going to definitely be making more of these and sending them off to people, because I feel like this is the kind of card that is just going to brighten somebody's day, something that they're going to put up on their table or their mantle or their refrigerator and look at it and just feel very warm and fuzzy inside, because it's just going to brighten up, especially for everything that we're going through right now in the world. So this will definitely be a nice, bright, sunny, happy, rainbowy card to give to somebody. So I'm definitely going to be sending those out soon to my friends and family, so they can be a little bit more joyous in this time. But I definitely really wanted to incorporate that rainbow style with these boots. Oh, and these boots, my goodness, I can't get over them. They are my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. One tip for the way that I made this card is with my dimensionals, I only put them on the top and bottom. You want to keep them open in the middle, because on my soft seafoam paper, I do put, you'll see right now, put some ribbon through it, and I didn't want it to stick to the ribbon. So it just made it easier to put it above and below, and that way it doesn't mess up the ribbon or scrunch it all up. So I wanted to use this ribbon for a while, and it's kind of hard to get into some of my projects. This one, it worked out beautifully. Can't go wrong with rainbows and polka dots. They just go perfect together. So I definitely wanted to add that to it. And then I just lined them all up and made my really simple card. I put them all on here first. I did not press down yet, because I wanted to make sure I got them right where I wanted them, in a fairly good line. I mean, you could not make it a perfect line and it's still going to look good. But they just stood out so much. I seriously am sitting here staring at the card. I love it that much. And you know, everyone says, oh, I love this card. Oh, it's my favorite card. And no, this one's one of my favorite cards. One of my favorite. I have lots of favorites. But I just added to it, and it's easy. Now my sentiment, I did just in regular Memento ink, and I did punch it out with a retired punch. It was the washi tape punch, so you can easily just cut this out into a square and lay it across your boots. That was another thing. I did have an issue of where to put my sentiment, but right across the middle, it didn't hide up anything. It actually turned out really nice. Another thing to also keep in mind, the way I'd put this card together was I used a lot of dimension. So it is going to be a thicker card in an envelope. So if you are looking to mail it off to somebody, just know you probably will have to add like extra postage and stuff. So this is a third card. This one was a kind of a last minute card. Reason being was my original one is not what I showcased in the video. So I kind of changed it up a little bit. The concept is still there. It is the same colors and everything. It was pretty much just a different way that I made the boots. My original one, I colored them in with Poppy Parade with my Stampin' blends. This one I stamped them in. The little grass images are the same. I used still the old olive and then added my dark soft suede to the little palms on the little weeds, I guess. And that's all still the same. On the main card is what did I use? My Smoky Slate. That's what I used. Smoky Slate paper. I had embossed it in the tin tile 3D embossing folder, and for the video I decided to change it and use my Subtles 3D embossing folder. So at the end of the video I do have a picture, and I showcased both, as well as on my blog I showcased both, so that way you, for one, know what I'm talking about, and two, you can kind of get an idea and maybe bring them together or come up with something else too, because it's like the idea is there, but I just could not make a decision. I couldn't decide how I wanted it to look. But I kept everything else the same. I kept the little bunny, or as Bella likes to put it, the little fat bunny. If you see my other video with her where we opened up the paper pumpkin box, she was obsessed with the little bunny and she called it her little fat bunny. So I had to add a fat bunny to a card. That was a lot of fun opening it up with her. She's very crafty and creative, and she loves to get into my things, so I figured I might as well be with her so she doesn't get into everything. But she also has her own YouTube channel, and that will be linked below as well. She makes her own little videos, not crafty videos, but she does make her own little creations, and she's very good at it and very proud of them. So it's fun to include each other on each other's channels. Now I got to figure out what I can do on her channel, which wouldn't be much. Anyways, you'll see here I am deciding to use my Subtles embossing folder. So I'm going to run that through my Big Shot real quick and then have that ready to attach it to my card base. I again use the soft sea foam as a backdrop for my boots and the bunny. It was a nice color, and it really just made it pop. It made the boots and like all the colors just really stand out. It was just a nice subtle color to put behind it. So I did that, and I used the rectangle stitch dies to cut that out. I added my linen thread to it, and then I wanted a little border, and I just attached it to a white piece of paper, or a white cardstock, and I just wanted it so small. I usually would have used my trimmer to cut it out, but I just figured, no, I'll just go around it really, really thin. I kind of just eyeballed it, and it totally worked. It totally popped and stood out really, really nice. Again, lots of dimensionals. I use a lot of dimensionals in these. I just really wanted them all to stand out and really look nice and pretty. I loved making these cards. They are my absolute favorite. They're a lot of fun. This paper pumpkin was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to play with, but the extra stamp set was like really made it even more fun than usual. So again, like I said, this was Stampin' Up's 7th year doing paper pumpkin. If you have not experienced paper pumpkin, you need to at least just try it once. It's so much fun. It's a surprise. You don't know what you're going to get when you open up that box. It could be, little gift bags. It could be treat boxes. It can be anything. And majority of the time it's going to be cards, and you're going to get enough to make a lot of cards out of it, and then a stamp set left over to use for something else. So all that is linked below. I'd appreciate your business if you were to sign up with me and let's have some fun. I can come up with some cool alternatives for you, and you'll get to see a video of me revealing it, what's going to be inside the box. I get it the same time you do, so I don't get any spoilers or anything. I'm just as surprised as you are. So we can always craft together. So all that will be linked below, as well as my blog post for all the information on this particular paper pumpkin, as well as my alternatives. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some good ideas. And I'm showcasing you. See, there's my other one. There's my other card. I'm showcasing you all my cards, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.